Not all characters are created equal when it comes to being awesome. Hey Twisted people, it's your Twisted Woman here, Chauncey K. Robinson, and today I am ranking the characters of the Netflix original series Shadow and Bone. Now, if you haven't checked out Shadow and Bone yet and you're thinking about it but you're not quite sure, I will link down below in the description my season 1 spoiler-free review. So yeah, after finishing season 1, I realized one of the main things that made me enjoy season 1 for the most part, aside from a few things here and there, was the characters and how I truly felt like this was a really well-balanced ensemble show. And then I thought, I really like a good amount of these characters, but I don't know how much I like them and who I like the best. So hence this video. Now, I know y'all are gonna have opinions, which I am super excited to hear. So comment down below with your top 5 or your top 3 or even just your favorite character of the whole entire series thus far. Let me know. Even let me know like your worst characters or the characters you could do without. I am curious to know that. So comment down below. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel so that you are the first to know when I post my videos. Now, the way I determined if a character was qualified to be on the list was if they were one of the main leads or if they are reoccurring. And basically just meaning that they show up more than just like once on the show and have more than like 1 or 2 lines, except one character who is quite special and I had to include on this list. So stick around for that. So we're starting from the bottom and working our way to the top, aka my favorite character, or what I believe is the best character of the series. Number 17 is Ivan. He was basically one of the henchmen of the Darkling. He had a few scenes here and there, but overall he was pretty mean. Yes, he was there, and I think when I first met him, I thought he was kind of cool, but then he just kind of got more and more cruel as he appeared. And so, yeah, I think it's kind of a given he'd be the lowest on this list. He also met his demise in the season finale, rightly so. So there's that. Coming in at a tie on number 16 is Nadia and Marie. The dynamic duo were one of the first people to genuinely seem nice to Alina when she first got to the castle. And they were also quite funny too. I loved their dynamic, the little banter that they had with Alina, and that they were genuinely just trying to be cool with her. And I thought that was really nice. And unfortunately, Marie died, which sucks. Number 15, the Parrot. I just thought he was creepy. And I like creepy. We like creepy here. Yeah, I thought he said some real ominous stuff. And I thought it was interesting. I'm not sure whose side he is on exactly. He may be someone who is just knowledgeable for knowledgeable sake. I don't know if he was necessarily trying to warn Alina off, but I do like that he helped to kind of tell her about the lore, you know, kind of help with her educating herself about things so that she would know it. Now, maybe he was just kind of a walking plot point, but I almost think that he's a bit more to it. And so I liked the creepy factor. I'm interested to see a little bit more of him and what is his backstory. Number 14, Matthias. He was all right. He's okay. When I was watching the first season, I wrote down in my notes, the chaste jock, the noble jock. I guess someone else will call him like a noble knight almost, because he seemed like he had morals for the most part and was a nice enough guy. I liked him and Nina's dynamic, and I'll talk about Nina a little bit as we move on higher up the list. But to me, I don't know. I just felt like he had a certain simple charm to him for surface level, but other than that, there wasn't much there. Number 13, Fedior. I dug him. I really did. I thought I'm hoping to see him in the next season. I think it would be interesting to see what kind of side he takes. I know him and Nina had something of a standoff, and I didn't really disagree necessarily with his stance on, given of the fact that he's a proud Grisha. He's someone who is about defending his people. And so there's a certain coldness that comes with others. And although I also got Nina's viewpoint, that wasn't for me, a way to dismiss Fedior as being someone who, okay, he's one of the bad guys. I think it's kind of a gray area with him, and I'm interested to see. And I thought he was nice to Alina, and he had little cool moments in the castle that were fun and things like that. So I think he toes a line, and I think it'll be interesting if we see more of him. Number 12 is Baghra. At first, when I was making the list, I had her a little bit lower, but then I thought of the potential of a backstory with her and what her life might have been like before she had her son, and the kind of magic that she had, the kind of power that she wielded. And I thought there's potential there. So I guess I have her a little bit higher up on the list because I see the potential with this character. I liked her kind of sensei dynamic with Alina, kind of giving her that tough love to make her stronger. I mean, that was kind of a trope, but we like tropes here sometimes. We're not against things that have been tried and true because sometimes they work. So I like the potential of Baghra, and I hope we see a bit more of her as things progress if we get a season 2 and so on. Number 11 is Zoya. Zoya was the classic mean girl, right? You know, and they kind of made it so she was once again falling into the familiar kind of tried and true plot point that we've seen, where the girl who's the classic mean girl doesn't like the new cool girl because the guy she likes is looking at him, so on and so forth. And so with that, she was kind of a walking cliche in a way, but I think she sort of redeemed herself as things progressed. And I could also kind of see, I mean, if she didn't know that Alina was a cool person or, you know, not the enemy, why wouldn't she feel some type of way? She is someone who stakes her claim. She's territorial. She wants what she wants. I mean, on one side of it, if you really like Alina, of course Zoya is gonna look like the mean girl. But at the other side of things, if you see some chick that comes in and everyone's making her a saint and she just got here while you've been like leading an army and a battalion and things like that and been doing the darn thing, and then it's like, okay, I'm supposed to like worship at this new chick's feet. Number 10 is Nina. I thought Nina was fun. I like the fact that she kind of plays the spy a little bit, or at least an infiltrator in a way. I wasn't the biggest fan of, I kind of felt like they were plot point C, her and Matthias, and I felt like that whole plot was just to get her towards the end to meet up with the other characters. So I was just like, oh, okay. I think it was one of those things where I felt like I was being made by the creators that I was supposed to love this character off the bat. And I'm like, well, I like to make that decision on my own. Why didn't you have her earn that from me as a viewer instead of making me think this is supposed to be, you know, my new fave character of the whole series in a way. I hope that makes sense. Maybe it doesn't, but it makes sense to me. So yeah, she's not, you know, the worst character. Number 9 is Alina. Is that shocking? Is that a shocking choice that the main girl of the show is not in my like top 3 or top 5? I don't know. Now, I say this is relatively speaking because what I'm really getting at is that the characters that I put above her were really just way better than her to a certain degree for me, in my opinion. That does not mean I think Alina is a bad character. It's kind of the same with Nina, where I felt like I was being made to really try to care for her, but I felt like she was kind of the result of things happening to her. And I felt like throughout the season 1 that there was a lot of, you know, I do all of this for Mal, I want Mal, and Mal, and Mal, and Mal. A lot of those decisions. And then when it wasn't Mal, it was Darkling. His name wasn't Darkling at the time. Alexander, you know. But, you know, it just was kind of like, where was her wants and needs independent of the guy that she was into at that moment? And I don't think we saw enough of that. She's likable. I like Alina, but I just thought that they didn't explore enough for her being like the main character. I was like, there should be a lot more depth here. Number 8 is Mal. Mal's her lover boy, one of her lover boys. I like Mal. I think he kind of came off as the lovable, very loyal, strong jock guy too. And I dug that. I also love that he loves animals, right? Like the bunny, like he had the bunny when he was younger and stuff. So I love that he's the lovable, strong guy with a heart, and I liked their dynamic, him and Alina. I definitely see the dynamic in their ship, and I dug that. I just also felt, once again, it's relatively speaking, that there were higher characters for me in terms of being interesting. Number 7 is Kaz. Now, hear me out here. I know mostly what he gave us for most of this season was the brooding, I've got a chip on my shoulder about the world kind of guy. But there's a lot of potential there. And I know that because I know what happens in the later books. And I actually appreciate the fact that they didn't do a backstory dump when it came to him, because there were so many characters to get to know in this first season, and I like the fact that they left a little bit to the imagination and a little bit of a mystery when it came to his character, because there is a mystery there, and I'm excited for them to explore it. But I definitely think Kaz has a lot of potential, and I think he's ridiculously smart and someone who's all about surviving. So I think there's real character to explore with this guy. Number 6 is David. Yes, awkward David. I dug it, him raising his hand and things like that. Oh my gosh, he's so awkward, and I dig it. I ship him with another character, and I'm kind of hoping we see more of that in season 2. And he's just kind of weird, but and he didn't come in until the later on part of the season, but when he did, it just stood out and it worked. And I was like, who is this guy? Number 5 is my surprise exception for this list, and that is Milo the goat. Do I need to even explain why Milo is on this list? Because that goat, him and Jesper, that relationship, that friendship, that bond, I hope we find Milo again in the next season somehow. Just the fact that they made it so it connected to so much, I was like, this really works. Someone really plotted out this season, and it all came together in such a seamless kind of way, in the way the characters culminated. And I just was like, Milo. Yes, Milo. Number 4 is Inej. Yeah, I mean, she's the action heroine of this show. I mean, wow. I mean, those knives, everything. She was just working it. And I love the fact that she has this sort of conflict with her faith and who she is and where she comes from. And I would love to explore that more. She was just such a compelling character, and her having to do her own stitches and learning that somehow because of how she had to grow up. There's just a lot to explore with this character. And I love that she's so skillful and just so awesome when it comes to fighting. And I just want more of Inej. Number 3, Genya. I went back and forth between Genya and Inej because I didn't want to do another tie, because the reason why Genya kind of edges out Inej for me just a little bit is because, one, her powers are awesome. I think the fact that she can change people's faces and their appearance and things like that is a pretty important skill. And I kind of didn't like how the show kind of played it down, like all she could do was magical plastic surgery for the queen. I mean, there's so much, especially when it comes to spy intel, which she sort of was, that she is capable of doing. And I just hope that they explore that a bit more for her character. And I just thought, I liked her and Alina's dynamic, but I also was just very interested in who Genya was and how she felt and the sacrifice that she made for her people and things like that by going undercover, having to deal with the king and things like that. And I just thought she was such a compelling, interesting character. Number 2 is the Darkling himself. I don't want to be a cliche myself in saying that I thought the handsome, layered gray area villain brooding guy was one of the favorite characters or one of the most interesting, but it's actually true. And I don't always say that. Sometimes characters that fit into that kind of trope that he did can be bland, and they can try to make them interesting, and they're really not. And I actually think they achieved a good goal. And this is the thing, that's because of the actor too. This is kind of his genre. to be in, right? This is him. That face, everything was just made for playing these kind of parts. And he excels at this character and giving you wanting to you kind of want him to win on some kind of level, because he really does pull on your heartstrings with the way he plays it, where it's not completely maniacal and things like that. And it's just so well done. And finally, my number one, and you probably saw this coming, is Jesper. Oh my gosh. This character, he steals every scene that he is in. Holy crap. He steals every scene. I want a spin-off with Jesper where he's just going on, adventures and gambling and living his life and doing heist and things like that. I could see a spin-off with this character, and I would watch it because there's just so much to explore, like the potential that he himself can be a Grisha. We kind of saw an element of that, right? Like, how is he able to shoot the way he does? How does he know where the bullet's going to go? But it's not really explored just yet. There's so much that we haven't even touched upon, but what we were given was so good. And he gave us Milo. He gave us the goat, y'all. That was him. He refused to hurt the animals. We love characters who love animals. Yes, we do. More Jesper. That is my ranking of the Shadow and Bone characters of season 1. Let me know your thoughts. Do you agree with my number 1? Do you agree with where I put Alina at on this list? Let me know, comment down below. And also be sure to subscribe so that you're the first to know when I post my videos. Thanks for watching.